Hello and welcome to this series called the Mental Language series, where I talk about very important concepts related to language because I believe just like food is nourishment for your stomach, language is the nourishment for your mind. And very often, the reason you find yourself in a lot of pain and confusion is you have accepted some concepts, some very common sayings that sound right but are not exactly right, and that causes a lot of havoc in your life. So, today we are going to deal with this very common saying that life starts at birth, right? So we know that for us to come into the world, we have to be conceived by our parents, right? We start off with the fusion of the sperm and the egg, and that soon develops. And once we leave the mother's uterus, we come into this world as a baby, and then we grow old, and then we die. Now, the confusion here is stating that. Birth is what causes us to come into being. However, we didn't pop up from nowhere. Life had to already be there for us to come into existence, right? You exist because your mom and dad exist. Your mom and dad exist because their mom and dad existed. So on and so forth. So, what you're seeing is the flow of life, which is changing its shapes and forms all the time, right? So you were there, and before you, your mom was there. Before her mom was there. Before that, your great grandmother was there. So life has always been there. The only difference is it's changing its name, it's changing its shape, it's changing its form, right? Your grandmother had one name, your mother has one name, your kids will have some other name, and life will continue. However, what changes is the shape it takes, right? So if you have a pot of if you have clay, you can mold clay in various shapes, but the essential content of that remains the same. The problem is we are told that life begins at birth, when the truth is life continues at birth. For life to happen, there has to be existing life, right? So you don't come from a rock, you don't come from steel. You come from life. Life evolves from life. Life comes from life, and it continues. The only thing that changes is its shape and form. And because we feel that life starts at birth, we feel that we are something very different from all other life forms on planet earth. It's even true, as per science, that we share a lot of genetic code with even plants and animals. There are very few things that make us unique as human beings. However, we are still a life form on planet Earth. And because we believe that we are so different, there is a feeling of separation within us, and this is the cause of most of the strife in our life. It's that we think too much of ourselves, and we can't see ourselves as a part of everything else in life, right? We see ourselves as something completely different from everything else, when the truth is that we are just one expression of life, right? Sometimes the expression of life could be a tree, sometimes it could be a cat, sometimes it could be a dog, but all living beings have come from all other living beings, and what we are just seeing is a flow of life that changes its shapes and forms as people continue to reproduce, right? But we fail to see that we are nothing more than a unique piece of life. But then we are taught that life starts at birth, when the truth is life continues at birth. And that's when our ego gets solidified. That's when our name gets a lot of importance. That's when our nationality gets a lot of importance. And soon humankind starts building more and more divisions, and conflicts and strife grows in the world. So don't be under the impression that life begins at birth. Life continues at birth, and which is why in one of the very sacred texts we have in India called the Bhagavad Gita, there is a saying where Krishna tells Arjun, there was never a time where these kings weren't there, neither was there a time when you and I didn't exist, and neither will there be a time where you and I won't continue to exist, because who we are is essentially one expression of life. and life just keeps changing its shape and forms. Today life may be someone by the name of you. Tomorrow you're going to have kids and life will be someone by the name of them. What changes is simply the shape and the form and the idea, but the essence remains the same and it continues. And once this experience is internalized in you, you'll see a lot of stress in your life being reduced. Right now, it's just at the information level, which is why this concept is a bit hard to understand. But once you get it, a lot of conflict in your life is going to come to an end.